Good morning. Welcome to Beacon Unitarian Universalist Congregation, a community committed to radical inclusion, feeding the human spirit, and healing the world. Yes, we're going to get that all done in the next 58 minutes. I'm Reverend Robin. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of your lead ministry team. And for those in need of a visual description this day, I am a short white woman with shoulder-length brown hair and a brick-colored turtleneck on. Our service today is held in our historic sanctuary in Summit, New Jersey, located on the ancestral and continued land of the Lenape. We acknowledge the first peoples of this land both as an act of affirmation and grounding, but also to bring awareness to the ongoing call for right relationship. Particularly as we look to build on the property at 695 Springfield Ave, we have entered a time of discernment with Lenape leaders, understanding our relationship to the land, to the first peoples, and yes, to one another. Beloved, if this is your first time at Beacon, welcome. And if you've been coming here for 4 years, 14 years, 44 years, welcome. However your relationship is formed with this place and your relationship with religion at large, your relationship with your journey, with the questions that you bring, the inspiration, the hope, the struggle, the grief, the uncertainty in this moment. Here at Beacon, we say, bring it. Bring all of who you are. Bring the wonderful and the challenging, the not quite formed or ready to say out loud. Bring the beautiful and the brokenhearted. Bring the bruised and the wonderful. Bring it all. Bring the holy, for that is what it means to be wholly human together. This is the call of our faith as Unitarian Universalists. Welcome, beloved. Welcome.
Our opening song is Spirit of Life. That's 1, 2, 3 in the great hymnal. And I'm going to invite you to stay seated as we sing this song. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. I'm Helen Kerr, the worship associate this morning. And for anyone who doesn't see me, I am an old white lady who used to be taller. For our chalice lighting this morning, we're going to this TEDx talk that I heard. And in it, Dr. Richard Davidson asked this question. Can you envision living your life so that taking out the garbage and doing the laundry are still related to your sense of purpose?
that Chalice has ever been lit with laundry and taking out the garbage. But it's important that we put those things together. It makes us notice things. Because on Tuesday night, 12 of us entered this building for our monthly Board of Trustees meeting, as we do every month on the third Tuesday. Says the spouse of a board member. We climbed the stairs up in the sanctuary, I'm moving away from mics. We climbed through the lobby, or we took the elevator upstairs. Historically, our board meetings have been in this space, but we have shifted to a small room up in the corner. And as we walked into that room, almost every single one of us kind of stopped in our tracks as we walked into the room, because we were expecting there to be 4 rectangular tables set up, kind of in a rectangle with chairs all around them. But instead, when we walked in, there was just chairs set up in a circle with a chalice in the center. And we each thought, what are we going to do with this? And we looked at each other, and we thought for a second. We talked to one another and said, well, should we set up the tables? And then we started to think, well, what if we just met like this? And suddenly this surprise made us pay attention to what each of us needed. And so we asked one another, well, what do you need in order to make this work? And what do you need? And some of us needed tiny, chairs that we set up for our waters. And others of us needed, other things as we went around. And we all got settled, and we started the meeting. And we noticed that things were a little different. We noticed, for instance, that there weren't things between us except for the flaming chalice. There weren't tables between us. And because there weren't tables between us, our computers weren't set up, our laptops weren't set up, so our laptops were actually on our laps. And therefore, we weren't being notified of things on our computers. We weren't distracted by our computers. Instead, we were talking to one another. We all entered the room expecting one thing. And because of one surprise, we created a new experience. And at the end of the meeting, many of us remarked how much we appreciated the qualitative difference of that meeting. So it makes me wonder, have any of us in this room expected the same old from a regular rhythm of your life, and then surprise? Like maybe a Sunday morning here at Beacon, when you walked into this place or came into this place, you might have expected one thing, and upon arriving, experienced a shift, a variation, a change, and maybe it transformed your experience. Like, was someone sitting in your seat? Reverend Robin and I typically are sitting up here, and it's always so much fun to watch people's faces when they walk in, and there is a look of anger. I'll just let you know, there is a look of anger. And then it's like, you can see the little bubbles pop up that says, they're not assigned seats, it's not my seat, I can let it go. Or maybe you're online and you came to the YouTube channel and you were looking for the comments. I know this happened to Kathy last week. You were looking for the comments and you could not find the comments, which meant that you couldn't say, hey, I'm here, and say hello to the Beacon folks who are on the online chat. Or maybe everything on the surface was the same, but then you noticed something you had never seen before. I know that one Sunday we all showed up and we found out as we looked out the windows that one of the trees had been cut down. And none of us knew why or how or when that had happened. Have those trees always been there? Or has anyone ever noticed that the acorns behind me actually look remarkably like a part of the human anatomy? I'm just telling you, whether you're in the room or online, you'll be noticing it during the sermon. Good luck actually paying attention to what I'm saying and not just looking at the acorns. But the truth is that, in fact, nothing we ever experience in our lives is the same old, same old. Nothing. Every moment of our lives is actually a new experience. It's always changing, I'm sorry to say. And everything always looks different from different perspectives. So let's take a moment right now to notice this moment. If you are in the room with us, I want you to look and listen around you. Take in the sanctuary, this group of people. Look at the actual space itself. Listen. What do you hear? What do you see outside? If you're online with us, I would invite you to look and listen to the environment and take in, start with the screen. What happens if Will, our live streamer, actually changes to a different camera? Suddenly you're not looking at me anymore, you're looking at all of us. What if Alice, our audio tech, turns off my mic? Suddenly you can't hear me. Notice who's in the room with you. And if you are watching the video on a different day than October 22nd, because everything's now on YouTube forever, what does the world look like for you in the future? We show up expecting life to be static. If you've seen it once, you've seen it. You don't need to keep paying attention to it. And when we practice noticing new things, it puts you in the moment. And the result is mindfulness. Every time your mind goes to the past or flits away on the future, I invite you, at least for this hour, to take a breath and disrupt it. And then notice something new, something about this moment. It will qualitatively change how you experience both the same old, and uncertainty.
Okay, now I know you're not looking at me, but the acorns. I'm Maureen Irwin. I'm new to Beacon. I've been a UU all my adult life, but I joined with friends from First U in Plainfield. And as soon as I joined, I was just heartened to see that there was a chaplaincy program here. And I joined it. Our chaplains, I should say I'm she, her. I'm 5'3" and holding. And I have brown, reddish, grayish hair that's not holding. Our chaplains extend the spiritual care of our community under the direction of our leadership team. Everyone needs care at different times in our lives. And chaplains offer a one-to-one resource to keep listening to you so we can bring comfort. We also extend the spiritual care of our community by facilitating our weekly ritual of community candle lighting. Today, our first candle is being lit to honor all of those who have died in Israel and in Gaza as a result of all of the atrocities, which will likely continue to occur. And you may well find that you need a chaplain over a course of the next weeks and months and years as these stir these feelings within us. Our candles are being lit for all of those who have died and are suffering in Israel and Gaza, including all Jews, all Christians, all Muslims of all nationalities. May the one who hears the cries of the world bring peace to the universe and to our hearts. Our second candle today is being lit. Kathy, are you going to do it? is being lit for Beacon member Ruth Sprague, who passed away this week at the age of 101. And we're also lighting a candle of love and gratitude to our chaplain, Kathy Menendez, who visited Ruth monthly over the last 10 years, and for Kathy's speedy recovery from surgery. And we light a candle of love and healing for Terry Palachik, who is facing surgery in the coming week. For these and for so much more, let us come forward to light a candle in the sanctuary or at home, and for all of the joys and sorrows not mentioned but in your hearts. Blessed be.
Our second hymn is going to be 318, which is the great tune by the composer Sibelius, We Would Be One. And I think we'll stay seated for this one as well, as you can really concentrate on the words as we Unitarian Universalists like to do. And I'll just say, looking at the words, we would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community.
Join in
invite the choir to come forward. We're just doing a little stage managing.
Because we're so flexible.
Lord, right here. Just before you sit down, let me just move this mic. The anticipation is killing me. This first piece is by Leah Morris. Heart Wide Open.
Yeah, are you coming up?
We invite forward Charlene Walker, Executive Director of Faith in New Jersey, to come introduce our special plate collection this Sunday for Faith in New Jersey through the minefield of mics and cords.
Sorry about that. I didn't knock anything over. Hello, family. It is so great to be home. Great to have you. So, I am Charlene Walker, and I'm here in my capacity as the Executive Director of Faith in New Jersey. Faith in New Jersey is a multi-faith, multiracial, power-building vehicle for people of faith, faith communities, and believers in justice with shared values to fight for a better tomorrow. We organize around immigrant, racial, and economic justice, as well as human justice. I was hoping to be joined by two leaders that are amazing from the city of Paterson. However, unfortunately, they have been called away because they are mourning the loss of yet another loved one within the city of Paterson due to gun violence. They are also mourning the multiple losses of our leaders, as many as 15 family members at once in Palestine. They are showing up for each other because what we are, at the end of the day, are relational organizers. It is relationship that moves us. It is a relationship that builds us together so that we can actually transform our world. What organizing is the development of everyday people. So our leaders that I hoped would be here today have been learning how to use their voices and wield it powerfully in the public square. How to tell the story of loss, of losing their own children due to gun violence in order to shift funds to actually fund the programs we know that work, that never get funded to scale in the city of Paterson and beyond. They're using their voices and are learning how to strategize to figure out who really has power and how can the power of the people shift them. All throughout this year, we have been leaning into building relationships across difference, about passing policies that are actually going to transform our communities, and uplifting the realities and telling the truth about what this world actually looks like and how we are all being impacted. A donation of Faith in New Jersey will help us to continue ongoing leadership development with youth and adults across this entire state to actually build a world that we can all be proud to say we live in, and to actually build a world where we all see each other as human. The one thing I want to make sure that everybody understands, if you can't financially donate, you can donate your time. The truth is that in order for us to transform this world that is based in white supremacy and uproot oppression of all people, we have to come together and utilize our talents and our skills in order to build people power. That means you might just be the person that makes the really good fried chicken and comes to the meeting and makes sure everybody gets fed. It could mean that you're the one that are watching all of our movement babies and teaching them to understand what it means to show up for each other as children and being the example. It could be learning how to do courageous conversations with each other through one-on-ones. There is a place for every single person. This world will not get better if we don't continue to come together across differences and to have the hard conversations to build a world where all of us can thrive, not just a few. So I would welcome any type of donation on behalf of Faith in New Jersey and our leaders. And the specific plate collections from Beacon are going to go to our Passaic County leaders as they organize to move $20 million into the health department to fund gun violence prevention programs in the city. Thank you so very much for having me.
Thank you, choir, for bringing your voices and for also donating your time to be this amazing community group, a musical community group. And the choir is open to anyone who would like to join. You don't have to have musical experience. I'd just say the fact that we're able to move the table and find everyone a place to go and move all the music stands is just one example of how this group works together so beautifully. It's like, thank you. And this next piece is Here Together by David Glasgow.
We're in for a treat this morning because we're going to go over Thich Nhat Hanh's 10 steps toward Zen dishwashing. Zen dishwashing, two words we don't usually consider together. But we're extremely lucky because we have two practitioners who are experts in both. 1, chop wood, carry water. Challenge yourself to realize that to wash dishes can be a pleasant and deep encounter with life in the present moment. It's not lost time. It's not a chore. 2, no striving. If you're washing the dishes just to get them clean and get on with something else, you haven't attained the Zen of dishwashing. Thich Nhat Hanh says that there's only one way to wash dishes: to enjoy washing dishes. 3, release the tension. Holding your breath, tension in the jaw, shoulders up tight, hands squeezing the sponge like your life depends upon it. Which muscles would you need to reconfigure to allow yourself to smile? 4, connect your mind to the present moment and feel of the water on your skin, the dish in your hands. Release any resentment. Smile to any lingering regrets or anxiety and gently bring your mind 100% to bear on what is going on right now. 5, check in with your body. Can you feel the soles of your feet on the floor? How's your back? Allow 100% of your body to participate in the act of dishwashing. 6, connect with your ancestors. Are those your father's hands that you are scrubbing with, or your grandmother's? Who taught you to do the dishes? Did your great-grandmothers have the joy of warm water, sponges, and soap? 7, see the galaxy in your spoon. Where has this metal come from, or the glass, or the clay in the plate? What were its previous lifetimes? Where will it be in 10,000 years? 8, no mud, no lotus. As you scrape out the grimy leftovers or throw away the peelings in the compost, visualize what flowers they may nourish next year. 9, nourish compassion. Be gentle with yourself and the dishes. Transform it into an act of love, freely given. Touch gratitude. Gratitude for having food to eat, soap to wash, and loved ones still alive to make the dishes dirty. And 10, forget all these points so you can scrub in peace and freedom.
Be helpful if I turned a mic on. My soul today. Thank you, Robin. I am Emily Bogus. I forgot to introduce myself earlier. I am one of the lead ministry team here at Beacon. My pronouns are she, her, and I am almost tallish, I don't know, white woman with short, blondish, brownish hair, somewhere in there, with pink glasses on, and a microphone attached to my ear, which feels funny right now. And I will tell you that last week's service on repentance and repair prompted someone to approach me at the pancake breakfast and ask us on the worship team to create a sacrament of confession because she missed the practice that she had grown up with. While we are at work on that, I begin with a confession this morning. When I am washing the dishes, I am never in the moment. Instead, I will be honest with you that I am doing everything I can to get my mind off of the fact that I am doing dishes. And in the pandemic, our dishwasher died. And so we had like a full 6 months where we couldn't get anyone in to service the dishwasher. And so we as a family did the dishes. And that was an experience. I typically listen to a podcast. I am typically FaceTiming with a family member or a friend. I'm making lists in my head. I'm going through the schedule. I am trying to build all of my life hacks into making sure I can get the most out of this moment and to make it as effective as possible. However, Thich Nhat Hanh might call these life hacks that we use the road to suffering, because multitasking stops us from being present to the moment. It's one reason that Dr. Ellen Langer says we are so unhappy, because it leads to mindlessness. One of my favorite cartoons has two monks sitting cross-legged in a land of beauty, and one of them says to the other, "Do you ever think about chucking all of this and retreating to a life of mindless consumerism?" Just keeps it in perspective, right? Well, Dr. Langer, who is a preeminent Harvard psychology professor who has been studying mindfulness theory since the 1970s, and one other little note that I want to make about her job is that she also studies the illusion of control. I think these two go hand in hand. She says that mindlessness is so pervasive in our high-tech culture, where our devices tell us what to do in every next step. "Oh, you haven't stood up in 15 minutes. You now must stand up. Please walk around the room. You have gotten 1,500 steps." It tells us what to do, and we are thankful for it. And she tells us that maybe we need to stop worrying about life after death, and instead she proposes that we consider the question, is there life before death? Are we living yet not alive? And so the first step on the path to life, on waking up to life, is washing the dishes, and only washing the dishes. People approach Dr. Langer all of the time, many of them quite miserable, and they want to know the secret to mindfulness. And they are expecting her to recommend meditation. Yes, 20 minutes of meditation in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. And instead, her answer surprises them. All you need to do, she says, is take care of this moment. This second, right now. And then just keep taking care of the moment. One after another, after another, after another, until you'll come to the end of the day and discover that the day wasn't that bad after all. When we spend our lives actively noticing new things, which is her definition of mindfulness, actively noticing new things, our neurons begin firing, both literally and figuratively, and it enlivens us, and it improves, she says, after 40 years of research, almost all aspects of our lives. And moreover, when those neurons begin firing and we are attending to the moment, it seems that we are alive in ways that other people notice, because suddenly they are drawn to us. The way to be happy, she says, is to be engaged. And the way to be engaged is to simply notice. In other words, only wash the dishes. Or, as Leah Morris and the choir just sang to us, keep our hearts wide open to this moment. Lesson number 2 from Dr. Langer is we have to avoid the illusion of stability. This is what I was getting at in our notice section earlier in the service, that we don't pay attention enough to the fact that life is constantly happening anew before us. Everything is always changing. That stability that we create is often an illusion. And finally, she teaches the big secret. Now, this is big. Are you ready? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. We live in a world of experts, and yet nobody knows, including Dr. Langer, who is the expert I am citing today. When we think we know, we tune out. We don't have to notice, we don't have to pay attention. We know that the room is going to be set up and we can have our board meeting. Now, I know how to drive from Summit, New Jersey to Easton, Pennsylvania, my hometown. It's just about an hour away. It's one highway. It's easy peasy. I don't need to pay attention. I can go on autopilot. Too many times I have arrived in Easton, walked in the door to the house that I grew up in, and my mother has asked me, hey, were the leaves finally changing colors on your drive over? And I think, and I realize I cannot remember a single minute of that drive from one place to the other, let alone what color the leaves were. In a world of experts, there is a pressure to know. Have you read this book? Has anybody ever asked you that? Hey, did you read this book that's just come out? Hey, did you see the film? Did you read the news? Do you know what's happening? And you might not know what's happening. And so what do? Do you confess? Or do you pretend? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I read that book. I know what you're talking about. We pretend that we know because we live in a world of experts, and we want to make sure that we are included in it. And so we pretend. And I will tell you that in seminary, I was living in Chicago on the south side, and I was in Fleck House with my fellow seminarians. I even remember sitting on the stairs right there in the big foyer, sitting on the stairs with my friend Sarah. And Wendy, our friend, I don't know why she was down below, but she was down below, and we weren't even talking about theology. But Wendy said a big word that I had no idea what she meant. She was a former lawyer, so I guess she just used them. That's my assumption, right? She just used one in a sentence, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And I just smiled and pretended. And Sarah, who was sitting next to me, said, wait. I don't know what that word means. Anachronism? Can you tell me what it means? And y'all, I can remember bodily feeling this thought of, we are allowed to do that? We don't have to pretend that we know the definition of every word? Because at least I was raised to pretend to know. And Sarah gave me a great gift in that moment to say, wait a minute, I don't know what that means. And I'm still okay. I'm still okay. And so even though my impulse these days, even to this day, is to pretend, to say yes and smile, Sarah taught me that when I say I don't know, I'm actually allowing a whole bunch of other people to go, oh, thank God, I don't know what that word means either. Right? Yeah. So, I don't know, you don't know, nobody knows. This is the big secret from Dr. Langer. When we live from this place of I don't know, you don't know, nobody knows, then we move into let's explore and discover together what is actually happening, this path called life, this thing that we are doing. A few weeks ago, I officiated a wedding, and as I was sitting at the reception, one of my neighbors was there, and he said, oh, I just need to let you all know at our table that this is my wife and our anniversary. We were married, 30 years ago today. And I said, what was your wedding like? Tell us about the experience. And he said, what I really remember is the fact that it was a triumph that my wife and I did not kill our mothers. We didn't know who they were. But something took over them and made them do things that we did not recognize. And we all laughed, and suddenly we're going around the table of moments in our lives where certain family members or ourselves started to act differently than we normally did. And I have to tell you that in planning with a couple, I always warn them before their wedding that every new endeavor, but mostly a wedding, has a hurl moment, right? I see Nancy's face is like, what does that mean? Nancy, feel free to ask me. A hurl moment. It's a moment of anxiety, of uncertainty, where the what ifs start parading through your head of, can we actually pull this off? For couples, they're imagining this wedding day, and they're imagining this perfection, this moment of perfection, and they have no idea how to get from here to there. And so I try to comfort them, and I say, you're gonna have a hurl moment. You're gonna have many of them where you feel sick to your stomach because something is going to go wrong. I can guarantee you something's gonna go wrong. They lived happily ever after, I tell them. That is a lie. That is a lie. If you think nothing bad will ever happen, it's a lie. Something bad is gonna happen. Something uncertain is going to happen. It just is. I have wondered why nobody asks me to officiate weddings. It might be for this moment of comfort. I just say get used to it now, because welcome to married life. Welcome to life. There will be a surprise. Your mother, a family member, your maid of honor is going to lose it. And then I tell them Dr. Langer's secret. As the officiant, I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. But your vows to one another are there to say, we can meet this together. Whatever arises, we can meet together. You got to keep your heart wide open. In this community here at Beacon, we've been engaged in a building project for, like as long as I've been here, and when I've been here 18 years, right? We have never done this huge building project before. We've done other things, but we haven't done this. And I've lost count just in the 18 years I've been here about the number of hurl moments that I've experienced and the question of, can we pull this off? And just to say, this congregation, ever since we built this building in 1913, we have had these moments where we have said we need a new space and we haven't known what to do. So every generation has taken the legacy of this space on, right? Can we actually pull this off? And when this fear arises in me, I think about the Great Wall of China, or every great endeavor, but especially the Great Wall of China. The first stone was laid in 650 BC. Roughly speaking. The princes of small states in the eastern and central regions of what is now China ordered that walls be built along their borders. That was the first step. Some 400 years later, the emperor ordered that these different walls be joined together. So generation after generation worked on their segments of the wall. It took, just for this part, it took 9 years to build it, and 1 million workers. 1 million. And even then, the unified wall that was built is not what we think of when we think of the Great Wall of China. All in all, it took over 2,000 years and another 2 dynasties to complete the masterpiece. It took so many souls, so many hands, so many lives, many of whom were not honored. And yet there it is, thousands and thousands of miles over mountains, across rivers. All of those people are in that wall. Because it's not just a wall and it's not just a security system, it is a work of art that a human community, generation after generation, put together. It is a thing of beauty. And when I look at it, I think of it as a lot of hurl moments. A lot of moments in which a group of people, many, many groups of people, thought to themselves, can we actually do this? No one, and especially not that first stone layer in 650 BC, no one imagined that final masterpiece. If they did, they probably would have given up. Can we pull this off? No. It's too massive, too overwhelming, too many what ifs. But they tended to that moment. I'm going to lay this first stone down. This first stone down. That's exactly what Charlene brought to us in her story from Faith in New Jersey. Her organizers, they are tending to the moment. Yes, they have big dreams. Yes, they have big goals. Yes, they have justice in mind. They are working towards that. And they do it by making the best fried chicken ever. Yes, they do it by going to the memorial service and honoring the dead. Yes, they do it by showing up at meeting after meeting. All of these stones, one moment after another, until $20 million for gun violence prevention is moved to where it needs to go. Until all of us live in a world that we want to live in. This was the advice given to me by my running and being friends. This is a group that meets on Saturday here where we begin with a moment of mindfulness and then we run together. When I signed up to run each of the 5 New York City half marathons, one in each borough, I asked them for advice on how to do this. And they told me, don't think about the finish line because that 13.1 mile, it's gonna kill you. It'll make you not wanna do it. Run 1 mile and then another. So I need to tell you that in Brooklyn, which was the second half marathon, I ran really fast for the first 8 miles. I was killing it. And I was like, 13.1, I'm gonna hit a PR until mile 8. And mile 8 to mile 13 is all downhill. I had all my uphills done, right? And suddenly, my brain was telling my legs to go a little faster, and my legs were telling my brain where it could get off. And the panic started to ensue when I'm running slower and slower, and people are starting to go past me. And each person who goes past me builds my panic. And at mile 8.5, I was like, I went from running the fastest pace I've ever run to thinking I couldn't complete it. I've just got to give up. And then I remembered my friends telling me just this mile. And I looked up and there was a stoplight in front of me. And I thought, I'm just going to get to that stoplight. And then I got to that stoplight and I got to the next stoplight. One stoplight after another, I got there. Now, I couldn't stand at 13.1 miles, but I got there. I got there. We tend to the moment. We lay the first stone. We keep our hearts, what? Wide open. I have a dream someday where I say something like that and all of y'all just start singing. Beloved, we have a holy endeavor before us, one passed down to us generation after generation, and it's one of many holy endeavors, but it is a massive one, to build a home where there is enough room for our mission, this thing that we care so much about, to thrive. Because what we do, as Charlene says, matters in the world. It matters right here in New Jersey. It matters in Summit. It matters on a Sunday morning to everybody who shows up. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't either. Nobody knows. But together we can take on anything, moment by moment. Moment by moment. We will run to the stoplight. We'll lay the first stone. We'll bring the best fried chicken ever. And we will wash some dishes. Until one day, we find ourselves lighting candles on a Christmas Eve service in a new sanctuary where our choir moves up the ramp and has enough room, where the preacher who's in a wheelchair can get to the pulpit, where children on that Christmas Eve pageant can run down the aisles or crawl down the aisles or be donkeys or whatever they want to be. But that moment in my vision is right there. And you know how we get from here to there? We make this moment count together. It is a blessing. Amen.
Before we start our closing song, just want to say thanks once again to the choir for being here, because it always just elevates the service so much to hear a group of people singing together. But we are going to be singing together with everyone on our closing song. Just want to say thank you to Vicki Carter for being a magnificent human being and musician. And thank you. Next Sunday is our afternoon music concert. Now, if you have not yet bought a ticket, I'll just say we're on the verge of selling out. And in fact, if you go on the website today, it'll say sold out. But we are opening up a few more tickets. There'll be tickets in the lobby. It's Cyrus Chestnut, like a wonderful, wonderful jazz musician that I think that you would love to hear, and also to be part of our afternoon music Beacon community. It's going to be a wonderful event. So this song is Where You Go, I Will Go by Shoshana Jedwab, and I invite you to stand and sing together. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine, and your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go.
I'm going to invite you, go ahead and sit down. I know that you're ready for the benediction, because that's what we normally do. But they're on my head. We're trying this new thing just to keep all of us on our toes, but also to get us deepening ourselves and connecting with one another. And so here are your instructions. First, a few announcements. Does anybody know why we call you beloved? We call each other beloved because it is true, whether we're meeting for the first time or we're longtime friends, in this space we are beloved to one another, and we're grateful for this journey that we're sharing together. And so if you are beginning your journey here, we invite you to consider a connecting session. Connecting. Online, you will see a link, for those of you who are online, on a visitor form that allows us to be in touch. And in our room, our ushers, Ingrid's right there in the window, have those same forms, and it allows you to connect. But some of you have been here for a little while, maybe a year or two even, and you're interested in what it means to become a little bit more here. That's where becoming comes into play. It's 3 sessions that kick off next Sunday, because we've packed everything into next weekend. Just if you look at next weekend, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, bring your sleeping bags, because you're just going to be living here. You'll hear more in just a second. I'm not kidding. And then there are 2 more on November 26th and December 3rd. And then Okay, here's that weekend, right? Next Friday is Plays by Neighbors at 7 p.m. here in the sanctuary, and we hope you consider getting a ticket. It's a fundraiser for Neighborhood Beacon, a program at Beacon that supports local food businesses while also alleviating food insecurity. And the event itself, is local short plays written by local playwrights and acted out right here at Beacon. 7 p.m., tickets are $15 a piece. And then there's a social justice retreat on Friday and Saturday. Then on Sunday morning, Carol, there's trunk or treat, there's afternoon music, there's something else. Oh yeah, we have a worship service in the midst of all of that. So please, bring your sleeping bags. This is a beautiful place to sleep, I have to tell you. And now, this is a moment where I stop talking and you start talking to one another. We want you to consider one word that you have taken from this experience this morning. If you are online, put your one word in the Slack thread or on the chat. But if you're here in the room, I want you to actually get up, find someone you don't live with, and share your name, maybe your pronouns, and that one word. And then, Vicki, can I ask you to just play a little something to bring us all back, and then we'll have the benediction. But first, you have to think of your first word. Ready?
You forgot to mention the concert Sunday afternoon.
I did. I said afternoon music.
Oh, sorry.
But thank you.
But you were doing it in order. I think you did
Friday
Friday night.
night, plays, Saturday social justice retreat, and 20 other things that we're doing. Sunday morning worship, trunk or treat at 695, and then afternoon music, and then youth group. All those things. No, you're fine, Donna. I asked you to ask a question. You got it. All right, ready? One word. Meet one another. Take hands and you can continue your conversations at Beacon Cafe. I'm gonna have to turn that page. You have to take hands. Beloved, just take in this moment. Look at the people around you and have a moment of gratitude. And we conclude with the words of the song that the choir sang to us. This is a holy moment that gives us the strength to go on down the winding road until we meet again. And my prayer for all of us is a peace that's true until we meet again. Amen.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah.